Hi gang, Radiowild here, and this is the next installment of my radio videos. Before we get started, I'd like to just give a shout out to a couple people that passed along some very nice comments on my my prior videos. One being Corvir Wild, and if you haven't subscribed to his channel or watched any of his videos, you don't know what you're missing. The guy is just an absolute laugh riot, and he's a big gearhead. So if you're into wrenching cars and trucks, he's definitely a must-see on YouTube. Also, I want to say thank you to Mongo5888. I believe he's out in Washington State, I'm sorry. And thank you for subscribing to my channel as well. And I hope you get that job as a bouncer in the bar. I hope that works out for you. And last but not least, a fellow ham radio operator, KE5HBD out in Texas. Thank you for your comments, and you got some funny stuff on your YouTube list as well, so that was rather enjoyable. So anyway, let me get on with business here. This video is basically, this is more toward the pessimist side of radio collecting, and let me explain. You know, tube radio collecting is kind of like, for some people, an acquired taste. It's like dark beer, and I happen to like dark beer too. So, but I'm sure there's people out there that say, okay, well, Radiowild, why should I start collecting radios? I mean, basically a lot of these are just AM radios, and I'll turn it on, and quite frankly, I don't want to listen to Rush Limbaugh or talk radio all day. You know, so why should I even bother? Well, there's still a lot of good stuff on the radio, but two things. First of all, to have one old radio in your house could add just kind of like a decorative charm. Just one piece. I'm not saying that you need to be like me and have 50 radios in your house, but to have one piece could actually, it doesn't even have to be a collector radio. It could be a decorative thing or decorative piece. Family and friends will come over and visit and say, oh wow, look at that, that's a cool old radio. My grandmother had that. And there's a lot of old radios that are actually quite decorative, and I actually have a piece that I wanted to bring out and show you. And let me just, is that in the picture? Okay, this is a Crosley, I believe the model is the 15WE. And if you look at this radio closely, I believe this radio was made in 1953. And just look at this thing. I mean, how Art Deco can you get? I mean, to have something like this on the shelf in your den and or your living room or even your office. But then, you know, for the other people that say, well, I want to use my radio and I don't want to listen to any of that stuff. Well, you know, there's a lot of new technology out there. Okay, and I'm also a fan of new technology. I mean, you know, the camera that's filming me right now is relatively new. It's in HD, so if you're watching this in HD, that's great. But, you know, why have an old radio? I mean, I have an iPod. I can listen to anything I want to on my iPod. I can, you know, listen to any kind of music, or I can listen to a podcast or whatever. Well, here's your opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Now this radio also happens, now a lot of radios that were made after World War II have a phonograph input in the back. Let me just turn this radio around so you can see. And if you look over here, there's a little RCA input in the back, and it's marked here phono. It's probably a little tough to see in the picture. And next to that here is a switch which shows a switch between radio and phonograph. Well, you say, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to hook, you know, make all that happen? Well, I just happen to have my iPod right here. And it's just filled with my stuff, my music and my stuff here. But for a relatively small amount of money, I think I paid $3 for this at Lowe's or Home Depot, believe it or not. And this has the plug that will go into your iPod, which is a stereo plug. And then we have two RCA plugs here that was meant for stereo. So how are you going to make that happen? You only have one control here. Well, the truth is you're going to be missing a channel. But unless you're listening to, like, say, early stuff when stereo first came around, like if you've listened to a Beatles album and then you have different things coming out of both speakers, you're not even going to hear the difference. So take one of these, and it doesn't matter which one you take. In this case, I'll just put the white one here in the back of the phono plug, and we'll turn the radio around. And of course, being a tube radio, I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to take a few seconds for the tubes to heat up. Then I'll take my iPod, and I'm going to plug it in. And let me find something here. Okay, let's see if it's all heated up here. Alright, now right now it's on the radio. I'm going to reach in behind the back. Now I'm going to switch over to phonograph. And let me turn on my iPod. So here you are now with new technology. Now this just happens to be Frankie Valli and Ragdoll, and I'm playing it through this 1953 radio. So now you got the best of both worlds. You could take your iPod, find a radio similar to this one, and you can play all your music through an old radio. So how can you go along with that? And of course the opportunities are endless, you know, with your own taste of music. You can go anywhere from ABBA to ZZ Top, wherever your musical taste will take you. So RCA made a bunch of 45 only phonographs for a very, very long time, and that's what this was actually meant for. So you can find a lot of post-war radio similar to this. It doesn't have to be this. But if you know, with springtime coming and flea markets and swap meets and everything coming around, garage sales, you might get lucky enough to find something like this. But the important part is that if you find one of these and you want to use your iPod or MP3 player to play through it, look for this phonograph input right here in the back. And that'll allow you to play your iPod music through an old radio. So hopefully that'll take away some of the pessimistic thoughts about owning an old radio. Now, last but not least, I just want to take a second here. Now, you can't see her in the picture right now, but Mrs. Radiowild is controlling the camera. So my lovely wife has got a page on Etsy where she makes these. Now, this is really cool. Radio tube rabbits. I don't know how well you can see that in the picture. But this is actually a 12CU5 tube, which is relatively useless unless you have a black and white TV. And she made a little handmade rabbit out of it. She stitched up the ears, and then you see here with the eyes and the whiskers, and a little base to put that on. So you can actually have a tube radio bunny just in time for Easter. She's selling these, as I don't know, she should have these on her Etsy page shortly. But if you go to Moosecraft, moosecraft.etsy.com, you might be able to find one of these, and they're $10 and $5 shipping. So if you hurry, and she's only made up I think like 5 or 6 of these, so first come first serve, and then you can have a little tube bunny for your desk or whatever for Easter. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and just one last thing, just from Radiowild, don't throw those radios out. Fix them up, unless they're junk. Take care.